Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the Leatherman Super Tool 300. Stay tuned. Okay, I went ahead and spared you the unboxing, but on the package here, it does state that there are 19 tools and it does have a 25-year warranty. Most of the features or items that are in this are 420HC steel, except for the wire cutter part of it, which are these removable cutters inside the pliers here, and that is made out of 154 cm. So really that's most of the specs here, other than it weighs 9.6 ounces, about 10 ounces roughly. So you get a lot of different things here. You get 19 different features, and we'll go ahead and go through them when I bring you in here closer. One other note is that it is made in the USA in Oregon, so it's really nice to finally be reviewing a product proudly made in the United States and specifically in Oregon. Before we look at the tool, I'd just like to go over the case real quick. Here it is. It is leather. I know, depending on which exact model number or version you get, it might come with a different type of sheath, but the one that I got came with this all leather sheath, so it's not quite tactical. This is more of someone who's just working in the field, not in a tactical situation. So it's a good everyday kind of carry case. It's leather. It has rivets holding it together specifically, and I also like that it does not have Velcro. It has a button. You only can put it on your belt one way, and that's get my finger in there that way. Also says Leatherman right on it right there. Now I did bring out some other multi-tools. I have 3 others that I feel would be in direct competition with this tool, so we could go ahead and do some comparisons. Also in the packaging came a sort of a guide to all the specific tools, and it also has what every other Leatherman multi-tool has. So they go over the skeleton tool, the super tool here, the surge, the wingman, the sidekick, the charge, and all the different features that each individual one has, which I think is really neat, because it sort of makes you maybe want to get something different based on maybe some other needs or some other job that you might be at. You might say, oh, well, I don't need to carry this big thing, I could just carry this one. So pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take a close look here at all the different features of the multi-tool of the Leatherman Super Tool 300. Now, if I had to put this into any category, I would say this would be a large multi-tool, and its direct competition would be like the SOG Power Lock right here, or the Victorinox or Swiss tool right here. This is kind of odd because it used to be all black, this Swiss tool, but I went ahead and took all the coating off the handle, so it's sort of kind of weird. I sort of made it my own. And this is the Gerber Legend right here. So I figured that I do a little bit of comparison between them, since these I would consider in the same category, large multi-tool. Now, specific features, you have the plier head right here. You have the needle nose pliers, which is the top part right here. And then the regular pliers, which they consider the lower part here, where you can like grip onto nuts and things like that. Next are the cutters in here. And we'll go ahead and take a real close look there. You can see that it has cutters, wire cutters, that you can take out. You have a little screw here. Looks like a Allen. Nope, it's a Torx screw right there that you could go ahead and unscrew and remove these. Now, again, everything on here is 420HC with the exception of these cutters, which are 154 cm. So once they wear out, you can go ahead and sort of replace them if they go bad. Now, I'm sort of like reaching here looking for something to cut. One of the things they test in the factory is to see if it cuts paper, which it does. You can see right there, it cuts paper. They check that with every tool that leaves the factory. Another thing that the owner does every now and then is he walks down to the assembly line and grabs one of these and cuts a, I think like a 6-penny nail or something like that with this. He'll like stomp it on the floor and test it and then see if it still cuts paper, and they do. So it's pretty impressive. This thing is strong enough to cut nails. Now, I love this head. This is really a great idea. Other things is that there's crimpers here on the back of the head, so you could do some crimping, and that counts as two of the features. They have standard it's an electrical crimper and a standard wire cutter. I guess they're calling that. Let me see. Number 5 and 6. Yeah, so that's what they're calling the back part of this head here that has some of the different shapes, for lack of a better term. So all those features, it's like 6 of them, all are encompassed in the head. Now, one thing they could have done to make these cutters better is to copy one of the few good features of the Gerber Legend. What they did was they made the cutter that's also removable in the head triangular. So what you could do is you could unscrew it and then rotate it 120 degrees and go ahead and use the next surface for wire cutting. And then you can rotate it again, so you get 3 surfaces on the one cutter. On one set of cutters could be used 3 times. They could rotate them. Pretty neat. That's one of the few good things about the Gerber Legend. There's not too many redeeming qualities on this particular, but that one thing is really neat, and I think Leatherman should have done something similar. Okay, next let's look at the next major feature, and that is the knife. Here we go. Again, it's 428C. 428C is a decent steel. It's nothing to write home about. Buck uses it on all their knives, and everybody seems to be fine with it, happy with it, and it's more than adequate for a multi-tool. Now, when we got it out, we'll go ahead and test sharpness out of the box, and it's sharp enough to cut paper. It's not the sharpest knife I've ever seen, but it's pretty good. So there you go. Standard looking knife, nothing special. It's, hollow grind almost all the way to the top, but there is a little bit of flat left. So if you have a sharpening system that needs to clamp on, you have a little bit of flat here on the top, so you can sharpen it using one of those systems. Good shaped knife. You could probably use it for some light stabbing too, as well as typical slicing. Now, if you notice, it locks in place. You have these little thing right here. Let me fold this down so you can see it. But you can see how you push this. Well, you push it and it unlocks the tool so you can fold it back. And there's also a detent on the knife. You can see that there's like a little divot right in there, and that also helps hold it closed so it doesn't come flying open by accident. So let's go ahead and pull out other tools on this side. You get a file. It's like a wood file and a metal file. And the other thing that's really nice is you have a file here on the edge. You have some file there, so you could do some notching, things like that. Pretty neat. A lot of the cheaper multi-tools, let me see, I think this Gerber is one example of a bad file, and is that they don't put any surface on either edge, just on the sides, so you can't do any notching. See, I told you this thing sucks. So a really nice file. Then other things you get on this side is a bunch of screwdrivers. You get a medium and large flathead screwdriver. You get an awl with a hole in it. So like if let's say you're trying to lace some leather or something like that, you can go ahead and use that to thread some lace through some material. And it's pretty sharp. It's not sharp like a knife, but it's pointy enough where you could sort of cram that right through some leather with no problem. And you also get a little lanyard loop right here. And again, all these tools will lock in place. So that's one side. Now the other side, you have a serrated knife. Now this one has the grind only on one side. as you can see. And it's sort of made where you could sort of use this as a escape. Like, to, if someone is trapped in a car and you need to cut a seatbelt, this is a very good blade shape right here. A hook, what do you call it? Sorry, I can't remember now. But, you could get it in there without worry of stabbing somebody, because it doesn't come to a point, and cut the seatbelt out. So it's a good rescue blade. And, with the serrations would make it very easy to cut through like a seatbelt or some other webbing. Next thing you get is a saw, and this is probably one of the best saws that you could find in a multi-tool right here. Look how aggressive those teeth are. Really, really nice. As a matter of fact, since I'm sort of considering this a sort of a review, we can sort of see how well this will cut through some wood. Look how fast that cut through that wood. Pretty impressive. Very good saw. Again, probably one of the best saws on multi-tool in the business. Alright, let's reach down. The rest of these items sort of all come out in one clump. Makes it easier than to try to pick these out individually. You get a small flathead screwdriver right there. You get a Phillips screwdriver right here. It's like a long shank screwdriver. Really nice. And then you get a can opener, which can also be used as a bottle opener right here. Now, again, this is where the Swiss tool usually excels. The Swiss tools and the Swiss knives always have the absolute best can openers. So, again, I think the Swiss tool would beat it. But it does work. See, the Swiss tool, what they do is they sort of make it a little different. I should show you, but I don't want to make like such an extremely long video again. But here's come on. I don't want to make this a long video. I'm wasting your time, and this is not a review of the Swiss tool. But anyway, really nice. Not the best in the industry, but not the worst can opener. And you also get, if you look here, you also get a wire cutter right there on the edge there, or a wire stripper right there. And it does work quite well. I did test it, and other people have tested it here on the internet. Other things you get is a ruler. You can see that it has inches on one side along the handle. On the other side, you get, I guess, millimeters. Metric on the other side. So that's basically everything in a nutshell. Bottle opener, can opener, wire cutters, knives, everything. But one of the things that I wish it had were scissors. They have 3 different flathead screwdrivers. I think they could have maybe sacrificed one of those flatheads and included scissors instead. I really would have liked to see some scissors. But, a lot of larger multi-tools seem to leave out scissors anyway. Like even the Swiss tool didn't have it. Now, another one of my favorite large multi-tools is this SOG Power Lock. And if you really need to grip something really tight, this is sort of geared to like a 2-to-1 ratio. If you notice, it does a very good job of gripping. But, the head doesn't have the removable, wire cutters in it, is the downside. But it has one of the nicest heads, and it's one of the smoothest feeling multi-tools out there. What a lot of people criticize are these little covers to hide the tools, so it makes it more comfortable ergonomically when you're squeezing it. But what they did here with the Leatherman is they rounded a lot of the edges really good. They rolled the edges, so when you're using it, it doesn't bite into your hand too bad. Now, one thing you notice is that all the tools are here when it's open. When this is closed, all the tools are inside, which is good and bad. The bad thing is that even to get something as simple as a knife out, you have to open this up to get the tool out. The good thing about it is that all the tools are inside it where they can stay cleaner. So if you get like mud and dirt get splashed on it, it's sort of all encased in here, so it keeps it out. Another nice thing about it is that these screws right here can be tightened or taken off, and you can remove or disassemble this tool, which I really like to be able to do. You do not get that with the Swiss tool, which is just riveted. That's one of the things that's the biggest complaint about the Swiss tool. But this is really this is my favorite. The Swiss tool, the Leatherman is just about even or a close second, and then the power lock, really really nice, especially the way the head works. I love that. And then the worst is this Gerber Legend. They made these real bulky handles that are made out of some cheesy material, and the tools really are not that good. They kind of suck. The only redeeming thing about it were those rotating carbide wire cutters, and you can access the knife from the closed position. However, the knife is a pretty cheesy knife there, as you can see. So there it is, the Leatherman Super Tool 300. Highly recommended. One of my favorite. I'll put it even with the Swiss tool. So I would have a very hard choice trying to determine between these two which one I'd really want. But I will give this a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. There are some other great Leatherman products, like the Leatherman Wave, which is really my favorite multi-tool of all time. But as far as this particular category of large multi-tools, this thing is freaking awesome. So if you're looking for this style, this is an outstanding choice. Again, 9 out of 10. Before we wrap things up, I just want to state that there are a lot of channels out there in the gun and knife community are covering all the things coming up with protecting our Second Amendment and gun rights and everything, and it's really good information. And I don't want to get kind of redundant, but I do want to make all you viewers aware that I am doing everything possible personally to help fight the fight and preserve our Second Amendment right to have firearms. And yes, this is loaded. So I have written to every local and national representative that are mine, and I am a member of the NRA, and the Second Amendment Foundation just became a lifetime member of the Second Amendment Foundation. Really important. But you need to be a member of the NRA, and I know a lot of you disagree or you have some heartache with them, but you know what? If the NRA didn't exist, we wouldn't be talking about gun rights right now, because we probably would have lost our Second Amendment right by now. That's how much they have fought to maintain and keep the Second Amendment. So, again, and I know I don't care if I lose a viewer, and I don't care if you tell me to F off, which I've already gotten, but if you own a firearm and you are not a member of the NRA, you are even worse, as far as I'm concerned, than an anti-gunner, because all us NRA members are carrying the weight. We're basically paying for your insurance, and you're getting it free, and we're having to pay for yours too. That's how I look at it, and I'm tired of carrying the weight of all of you who are not participating in fighting for your right. Because you got to look at it like this. We could fight like this right now, or you could have the SWAT team knocking down your door, and that's the time where you're going to decide to fight to keep your firearms, and you're probably going to whimper out in the corner in the fetal position and just give up your gun because you have kids and family to look after. So don't give me that crap. What I find very disturbing is that there are 300 million firearms in this country. There are 320 million citizens in this country. 1/3 of them, which is 100 million people, own firearms. One of your neighbors to the left or to the right probably got a firearm, if not a couple. And the NRA is just trying to break 4 million. No, I think they broke 4 million. They're trying to get up to 5 million. They actually got 400,000 in the last couple of months. But that's a big disparity. I mean, you're looking at, if there are 100 million people and all they have is 5 million members, okay, that's 5 million people paying the health insurance for the 100 million people. That is bull crap, and you know it. So if you want a firearm, you're not a member of the NRA, do it. If you don't like what I'm saying, unsubscribe. I don't care. I don't like you. That's it. I don't like you. I don't like what you're doing to me, and I don't like what you're doing to the other people who own firearms and are fighting for our right. Okay, enough with that. I appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and you, unless you're not a member of the NRA and you have a firearm, and then you can just go to hell. And I will see you on Tuesday. Take care.